This conference will now.
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening, good morning. This is Kiran, the trainer, and I thank you everyone for joining this demonstration class on API testing using Postman tool. Can any one of you quickly confirm if I'm audible and if my screen share is visible?
Yes,
Yes,
Kiran.
Okay, thank you very much. And my sincere apologies for not making it yesterday. There was some technical glitch which was pretty easy, but somehow it was not getting fixed and we had to do it today, but I appreciate everyone's patience and thanks for the support. Apologies once again for killing your time, but nevertheless I think we can get started. So I think we are good to start now. uh, so I'll give a quick introduction about my profile and then we'll get started. Today's class is all about you understanding about the trainer, and of course I want all the participants to understand what we are going to teach in this demonstration class. And the session is always open for any questions and answers from the participants to me, probably surrounding around the questions like you have in general about API automation testing and the related things. Okay, so I'll quickly talk about my profile. So by the way, my name is Kiran. I have close to 18 years experience in the IT industry, and have been working for organizations. In fact, I'm working even now. So whatever course I'm going to teach you, that's going to be a real-time course, not a bookish knowledge. It's going to cover all the real-time challenges that you guys are going to face in the interviews or probably in your real-time projects. Right now, as I talk to you, I'm at a client location where I'm delivering one of the automation projects on API testing. And to talk a little bit about my profile, like I said, my name is Kiran. I have 18 years experience. Coming to my expertise, I do trainings and consulting engagements for corporates on multiple subjects of testing, starting from manual testing, which covers ISTQB, automation testing of web applications using tools like Catalan Studio or Selenium WebDriver, and backend API automation. For the RESTful APIs, SOAP APIs, and GraphQL APIs using tools like Postman, SOAP UI tool, Ready API tool, Catalan Studio tool, Insomnia, and Tailwind tools. I also do trainings and consultings on performance testing using tools like Gatling, Jmeter, and also on security testing using multitude sets of tools. And coming to the current training program which we are talking about and which we are starting, from today onwards, I would say day zero is the batch timing. I have done nothing less than 100 trainings on API testing using Postman tool. That's a common training I do for corporates and also for public batches. And me and Isha team have a very strong bond in terms of doing multiple corporate training programs and also public batches the way we are starting. So that's a very quick round of introduction about my profile. And one more point I would like to highlight is like I also train corporates. I travel extensively across the length and breadth of India and outside India as well, especially on the Asia Pacific regions. Uh, okay, so let me pull the table of content. Whatever table of content I'm showing right now to you guys, this is pretty much available on Isha website. In fact, on the WhatsApp group, I have given the TOC link yesterday. Please, you can click on the link and it will take you to the browser and you can see the same course curriculum, but I'm showing it on my document. Now, the course that I'm going to teach in this batch is API automation testing using Postman tool. And the duration of this course is 30 days. It can probably be extended by a couple of days if necessary, based on how we take this program forward. And the class is for 1 hour on a daily basis. Regarding the timings, it would be the same timings, 9 p.m. IST, evening timings, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. We are sticking to this time. Now, coming to the learning outcomes, right? Like one of the common questions that every engineer has, every student has is like, what would I benefit if I take up this course, right? So from a business perspective, there is a business outcome, but this is a learning related training. So I would call it as a learning outcome. So I have divided that into 5 learning outcomes. One, all the participants will definitely understand what are web services, what are microservices, what are RESTful APIs, what are SOAP APIs. In fact, I'll talk a little bit about what are Facebook introduced GraphQL APIs as well. So you'll have a clarity on what are all these terminologies, where do we use all these things. Learning objective 2 is you will definitely understand the entire life cycle of API testing, which means when do we start API testing, when do we terminate it, and before doing API testing, what exactly happens, and what is the advantage of the organization when they have an API test engineer in place. That's the second learning objective. The third learning objective is you will all have a perfect understanding of how a test plan document for API testing looks like and how the test cases can be written for API testing. In fact, I have written a reusable document for API test cases and API test plan, which I'll be sharing with all the participants during the training program. That will act or that will serve as a reference material for you guys. I would not say that's the best material on the earth, but that will definitely act and give a boosting support for you guys to customize further for your respective projects in your organization. The fourth learning objective that we have is a very important one, and that's one of the major reasons why people enroll in this course is how do I do automation testing of RESTful APIs and SOAP APIs using Postman tool by writing a lot of JavaScripts. So how do I do this API chaining? How do I do end-to-end automation testing for APIs? How would we do data-driven automation testing? Can I do performance testing of APIs using Postman tool? The answers are all yes, and that will be served in learning objective 4. And the last but not the least, the fifth learning objective is how do we generate excellent test reports so that we can share it with the customers or with the project management or with the developers. For that, I'm teaching a new framework called Newman Tool Framework, which is a kind of plugin that Postman is giving. So that is something which we are going to talk and integrate with the Postman tool to generate the fantastic HTML test reports or an XML test report, a JSON or a CLI test report. Okay, so these are the 5 learning objectives that we have. Guys, one more thing. Now, while I'm explaining the table of contents, I still give you guys the freedom to ask me questions if you have any. Please do not wait for a particular moment to put forward your questions. You can use the chat window to put your questions forward, or you can unmute and speak out. I'll take the question. It's okay if you
Sir,
interrupt me.
sir, please show your screen, sir.
I'm already sharing my screen, but let me share it one more time.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Maybe there is a glitch somewhere your side, but let me do it again. I'm sharing now again. Let me know if you're able to see. Okay, how about
Yes, sir.
others? Others are able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to now.
Okay, cool. And in fact, I will also give this document to you if you want, but it's nevertheless, it's available on Isha Training's website as well. And coming to the courseware and the course material, I think this is also something that every participant is definitely interested in after they enroll in the course. So during the course, it would be 95% practical training program with 5% theory in the first, second, and third chapters. And whatever I'm teaching you guys, everything is documented by me in a document, and I will take the responsibility of sharing the material and the notes to you guys through Google Drive. And the classes are getting recorded, and you will also be given access to the recorded class, and the access is lifetime. Now, coming to the courseware and material, I give multiple course content. So example, if you see this document, which I'm sharing it on my Google Drive. So this is a document that I have prepared, which has like 260 pages. And this document is what I'm going to share with all the participants. It has detailed step-by-step procedure along with screenshots. So for example, you have to achieve something in Postman for automation testing. I have written the steps along with screenshots. Okay, so this document is what you're going to get. Apart from that, if you see, this is the Google Drive document I have, API testing material. So I'm going to share with all the participants the common interview questions, object assignment, where you have the multiple choice questions. Nearly I have 100 questions and answers, reusable test cases, whatever common test engineer responsibilities. Like if you claim that you are a test engineer and working on API testing, what is that you have to have in your resume? Not just having it on the resume, it will be also there on your mind when you enroll in the course. And related topics are also here. So I've given some sample resumes as well and some assignments as well here. So this entire Google Drive document I'm going to share with the participants during the training program, not towards the end of the training, as and
Sir,
when
can,
we, yes, sorry, is
sir,
anyone
can I
having a
ask
question?
something, sir?
Yes, please
Sir,
go ahead.
we will use Java or JavaScript here, sir. We will use Java or
JavaScript.
any other JavaScript. Yes.
Yes, Postman uses only JavaScript.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now let me also start off with what course content we have. And what I have done is I have divided the entire curriculum into multiple chapters. And trust me, this training is not like any regular training program. This program will definitely make you an expert. I promise and I assure you that you are going to become an expert towards the end of the training on API automation testing using Postman tool. And this knowledge, you can leverage it to do it on any other automation tool like SOAP UI tool, Ready API tool, or Catalan Studio tool, or even REST Assure tool also. So chapter 1 talks about the introduction towards client and server architecture. What exactly is an API? Why is the industry talking about API now? What was there in the industry before API has come? How API is connecting the dots between front end and the server. That is the whole objective of chapter 1. In this chapter, we'll also talk about different nuances. Like everyone says that I know what is a client and a server. But when I'm teaching you, you will understand that, oh my God, there is so much in client and server architecture for a test engineer to understand. And once you understand the detailed client and server architecture, API testing becomes easy. Performance testing becomes easy. Security testing also becomes easy. Meaning the foundation will be there for you guys. Okay. And then we will also talk about the different request headers, response headers, the HTTP status codes such as 200, 500, 401, 402. There are so much response codes that we are going to learn along with some cryptographic protocols. We'll also talk about HTTP methods such as get, post, put, patch, delete. Before we talk about these methods, we will also understand why do we have these HTTP methods. Okay, right now I'm not going to explain everything because the agenda of the today's demo class is to make you understand what I will teach in the training, right? And chapter 1 also talks about the three-tier architecture. Most of the times, right, when you work for a project in an organization, you have a front end, you have a back end, you have a server. That's a three-tier architecture. So I will help you understand this three-tier architecture model, where exactly APIs come and play here. Sometimes you work in a telecom organization or a banking project or a financial or an insurance project. Then it will not be a three-tier architecture. You are going to work on a five-tier or a 10-tier architecture. So this chapter 1 will make you easily understand to easily work on any other kind of banking, insurance, financial projects, because the foundation is going to be so rock solid. And chapter 1 is going to be completely theoretical session with 1% being practical without using Postman tool. Once we do that, we'll change the gears and we'll talk about chapter 2, where we'll talk about little closer towards the world of APIs. So starting from the year 2000, which is like 24 years back, what was the technology of APIs that was there in place? After that, what is the next technology? Then what is the technology today? What is the technology we are using? That evolution of APIs I'm going to talk, where I'll talk about remote procedure calls, SOAP API calls, RESTful API calls, which are introduced by Google, then GraphQL calls, which are introduced by Facebook. So you'll understand the reason why they came into picture, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. Because of this disadvantage, REST APIs came into picture. Because of this disadvantage, then GraphQL came into picture. You will have a perfect understanding of that. Then we'll also talk about the classification of APIs that every software developer does in a project. Like you call something as public and sometimes private. You call it as an enterprise, you call it as a consumer. You call it as a secured API versus unsecured API. So what are these different terminologies and how are they applicable to a given API? How does that impact the project and the testing activities? So we'll have an understanding on that classification as well. Then I will focus more on the differences between SOAP APIs and RESTful APIs because that's a common interview question. And by the way, that's something that will help you towards your automation approach also. Again, I repeat, I'm not going to give you the differences right now because the agenda is to help you understand what we are going to learn. Then we will understand the syntax of an API. So let's say you're working in a REST API project in the organization. So how does that API look like when the developer gives it to you? You will understand that in this chapter 2. Or you might be working in a GraphQL project, or you might be working in a SOAP API project, let's say in a company called IBM. Then how does that API look like? How does the structure of the API looks like when the developers give it to you? That understanding we are going to have in chapter 2. Apart from that, I will give you some live examples from the internet for SOAP APIs and RESTful APIs so that you can correlate my syntax with the real-time APIs that are used by LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or OpenWeather or any other APIs. So it is going to be a fun activity in chapter 2 where the theory meets the practicals. Then in chapter 3, we are going much more closer towards the world of APIs from a testing perspective. So normally when you say I do manual testing, and if I say what are the testing techniques, we say, hey, I do smoke testing, ad hoc testing, retesting, regression testing, performance testing. We say so many things. But when you are an API test engineer, people do not know what testing techniques they have to do in API testing. They simply say, yeah, even in APIs, I do regression, I do retesting, I do ad hoc, I do exploratory. But that's all, I would say, rubbish. That does not sound like a professional way of answering it. So in this chapter 3, I am going to introduce you all those API testing techniques that you or I is supposed to conduct for a real-time project. So I'm going to explain both the positive testing techniques of API testing and the negative testing of API testing techniques. That way, your test plan also will become a very huge document and you can write a lot of reusable test cases. So chapter 3 introduces you to the world of API testing techniques, which I'm highlighting on my screen. Plus, I will show you the test plan document which I have prepared and also the reusable test cases which I have prepared. I will share those two documents in chapter 3 with you, and you will have an assignment for one day to go through it and come back to me with a lot of questions. And again, I repeat, this training is not going to be a one-way training. It is going to be a two-way training, meaning give and take. It's not that I teach continuously. I teach chapter 1, you have an assignment. I teach chapter 2, then you have an assignment. Chapter 3 will have more assignment in terms of doing the homework and then coming back to me with some questions. Of course, you might not have questions, but I'm not going to point you that you are not having a question. If you are willing to learn a lot, ask me a lot of questions, and that's how you're going to benefit in the training. Because that was the way me and Isha team have done that for all the remaining batches, and most of them have really benefited it. Even today, people come back to me and say, hey, this chapter helped me in this interview, this chapter helped me in my project, or probably they have a new challenge. They WhatsApp me, says, can you help me, Kiran, how to solve this? So so I feel, I enjoy those kind of questions when it comes from the participants. Fine. So until chapter 3, it's completely a theoretical training program. Okay. Any questions, guys, until this point from any of the participants? Okay, I have some questions on the chat from Jeannie.
Sir, you will teach here Postman also, na? Before
Yes,
automation, we
yes.
will go with the manual.
No, no. This course is completely with the Postman tool. It is both manual testing of APIs and automation testing of APIs using Postman tool.
Yes, yes. Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. No problem. You can call me Kiran. And Jeannie says, do you teach on weekends? Usually, no, Jeannie. Monday to Friday, we stick to it because there are so many participants who joined, right? So if all of them are okay, I will have it on a Saturday. If even two people are not okay, then we will have it only Monday to Friday. Timings will be similar, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Indian standard timings. The second question from Jeannie is, I'm not familiar with JavaScripts. Can I still learn? Now, take my word, Jeannie. You don't have to know programming language. You don't have to know Java. You don't have to know JavaScript. Reason is, Postman tool has built-in capability to write the scripts. So you don't have to write any script. Minimum knowledge that you have from the college days, right? That is more than sufficient. Take my words, because the reason why people first pick up Postman for automation is Postman has ready-made templates. So we have to just reuse them. That's how it is going to be. I think the same question from Sumit as well. Sumit, the same answer applies to you as well. You don't have to come prepared from JavaScript. Take my words. Jenny says, will you support us after the course is over? Of course, yes. I'm there on the WhatsApp group. That's my personal number. You guys can always ping me even after the course. I'll also drop my email address. You can always ping me on my email as well. And of course, I will respond to each and every email. There could be a delay of 1 hour or 5 hours, but response is 100% guaranteed. Okay. Any other questions from anyone else? Until chapter 3, do you have any questions?
Hi Kiran,
You
Abhishek
can
this
say
side.
yes, no.
So
Accordingly, I'll proceed. Yeah, Abhishek.
yeah,
Yes,
Kiran.
sir. I have
So
one question, sir.
which framework we will be using? I mean, karate framework or
No, no, we are not using any karate framework. I would say we are using the built-in framework of Postman plus Newman framework. So so the answer is Postman and Newman framework. That's it with the JavaScripts.
okay? Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. I have one question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this JavaScript program also as well as you teaching for this course, sir, or not?
I mean,
Only
there
for
is not a
teaching.
no, no. I will be helping you understand the JavaScript. We are not teaching JavaScript in this course. Reason is we don't have to come prepared with JavaScripts. But during the automation process, I will be spending some time and energies to make you guys understand the JavaScripts. Okay, and trust me, you will not feel even on a single day that this course is difficult. You will say that, oh my God, this is so easy. That's how the course has been designed for you guys.
Okay, sir. Because of the automation using also Postman means, so I am thinking, sir, how to be able to understand that Postman like that. I am thinking, sir.
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, you will understand it. Definitely, 99% you will understand. If you're understanding my language now, that is how the course also will be. So many people with zero knowledge on the programming, they have come, they enrolled, and they completed the course successfully. They practiced it, they completed the assignments, they also landed in jobs and in projects. Okay, so
Okay,
chapter
sir.
4.
Yes.
Yeah. So from chapter 4 onwards, guys, it is going to be hands-on exercise. So wherever you see this word hands-on exercise, what I meant is it is a practical training 100% with 1% theory probably. Okay. So from chapter 4 until the last chapter, it is going to be practical training. Okay. I'm not using any PowerPoint presentations in my course. It is all writing it on the Paint program, writing it in a document, doing it practically on the Postman tool, solving the problems before you, and you will also solve it after the class is completed. Okay, so it is going to be a practical training 100%. So chapter 4, I will introduce you guys to the world of Postman. We will all download Postman tool. We'll create an account in Postman. We will sign up in Postman tool. We'll sign in either on the web application of Postman or on the desktop application of Postman. And then I'll help you understand the graphical user interface of Postman tool. So I will probably take 30 minutes to show you the guided tour of Postman. Just like when you visit, let's say, Jaipur or Kashmir, you have a guide that will help you what are the tourism places available, right? Similarly, in Postman, I will show you the tourism places where the technical functionalities are available, so that you do not have the fear factor that there are so many features in the tool, will I be able to understand it? So that fear factor, we will kill it in chapter 4. In chapter 5, we will talk about the hierarchy in Postman automation, very important one. So when we say that I'm doing automation in Postman, you should have a hierarchy in your mind, nothing but framework in some terminologies. So we'll understand what is that hierarchy in Postman and how should I understand it and how do I create it. So that is what chapter 5 will talk about. And the hierarchy always starts with a topic called as Postman workspaces. Now a workspace is nothing but a project repository. So in Postman, you have multiple types of workspaces: a public workspace, a private workspace, a partner workspace, a team workspace, a personal workspace. So we'll talk about how to create these workspaces, how to delete the workspaces, how to join a workspace, how to leave the workspace, how to convert a workspace from personal to team or team to public or public to team or team to personal. We look at the entire life cycle of Postman workspaces and hierarchy in chapter 5. So chapter 5 is like step 1 in automation. Then we have chapter 6 where the actual automation will start, meaning the actual API automation will start. Now what I have done in chapter 6 is, when let's say I'm working for a company called IBM and the developers there are giving me documentation in a format called Swagger. So I will take a Swagger project and show you how you have to understand it. Maybe I'm working for another company called Google where the API documentation is written in a HTML format. Then how should I understand it? That also I will help you in this chapter 6. Similarly, when you work with 10 different projects, 10 different developers, or 10 different organizations, the API documentation can come to you in any of the formats that I have listed here. So I'm going to explain you all these formats and how you as a test engineer should understand it and start writing test cases in Postman, manual and automation. Okay. So that point 1 in chapter 6 is ultra important. That is where most of the people make a mistake by not learning it. Okay. So then we will talk about how do I create a framework in Postman by having something called positive test cases and negative test cases, or smoke test cases and regression test cases. Then we'll take some projects, live projects, okay, not any dummy projects. I will take one REST API live project where we will have APIs that uses get method, post method, patch method, delete method, and then we will do lot of automation testing around it. Like you might say, whatever techniques I wrote here, right? So I will not read it again. Whatever techniques I have written here, we will do all these testing techniques for that live project, and that itself will take like 10 to 12 days of our time. Okay. So for a live project, I will take another live project and do it little quickly. Like project 1 will take, let's say, 10 days. Project 2 will take only 2 days, because project 2 is a recap of project 1 just in a faster way. Like project 1, we are driving the car in second gear. Project 2, we are driving the car in fourth gear. Little faster we will go, so that you will have a second project example also in your mind. Then so chapter 6 talks about that simple things. Okay, I'm not reading all of those things here, but we are going to do full length automation testing. And chapter 7 is an extension of chapter 6, where I will show you data driven automation testing. Very common automation technique that you see in Selenium or performance testing or QTP or any other tools. So by the way, data driven testing is all about testing your APIs with different values of test data. Example, if you take a simple login test case, you have multiple usernames and multiple passwords to test it, something like a valid and invalid combinations, or empty and incorrect combinations. So when you test one API with different values of test data, we call that as data driven testing. And there are two ways in Postman how you can do it. One, by doing it from an external file such as comma separated value file like CSV file, or Postman has some built-in functions in JavaScript. So we use the functions and we generate the random test data. So both the ways I'm going to show you. Then I'm going to show you how to do cross compatibility testing of APIs, which is actually called as interoperability testing. Let's say, your developer has given you APIs, and the developer says, how will you able to test it in, let's say, Linux operating system? Or our API is compatible with Safari browser, or our API is compatible with Linux operating system, or our API is compatible with Internet Explorer version 9. So you don't have to install those operating systems and browsers when you are using automation tool like Postman. So I will show you the magic that will help you to do interoperability testing. I mean, it's a technical magic. Okay? Then I will also explain you how you can do performance testing using Postman tool for the APIs. Then we'll talk about continuous testing, another automation testing technique. Let me tell you what is this continuous testing. Let us say my developer expects me to test the APIs every day in the evening at 9 o'clock. But 9 o'clock is my family time. Why will I test it at 9 o'clock? But obviously, I cannot say no to my developer, because, in the IT industry, we don't say no, because we're all slaves, right? On the lighter vein. So what is that I should do? Should I still sit at my computer and then do the testing at 9 o'clock in the evening? Not necessary. You can automate the scripts and tell the Postman tool that why don't the Postman tool run the scripts every day at 9 o'clock and send a report to my developer and copy me in the email. Postman can do that for you. At 9 o'clock, I can be happily relaxing with my family, watching a movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime. But still, Postman will do the homework for me. So how do you do that? That is called as continuous testing or a scheduled testing. Just like you keep an alarm on your smartphone, you can tell Postman tool that here is where my automation scripts are present. So Postman tool, go pick up the automation scripts, execute it, send a report to person A, person B, and copy me. That's it. Postman will take care of it. So that testing also we will see here. And then I'm going to show you different automation scripts which I have highlighted here, where I'm going to show you how to validate the response code, the response message, the response time, the content in the response body. How do you validate the JSON values? How do you check multiple choice values? How do you write conditional statements like if else in Postman? How can you comment it? How can you write some automation that can be skipped? How can you introduce artificial delays? How can you find the data type of the response body coming from server? How can I capture the response attributes or the request attributes? How can I validate success code or client side errors, server side errors? Lot of automation scripts we are going to learn in this chapter 7, and it is going to be 90% helpful in your interviews and in your projects. Again, I repeat, all my real-time experiences, whatever challenges I face in my projects and my clients, I put it in my course so that my students will obviously get that benefit. Okay. Then we'll also talk about very important automation testing called API chaining. So API chaining is like picking up the response of one API and supplying it as request to some other API. Like I take money from person A and give it to person B. So something like that. So API chaining is a default automation testing that every test engineer will do in their projects. And that is a main challenging work every tester will have. But I'm going to simplify it for you in the project by giving you common script that you can copy paste in your projects also. And I will tell you how to do end-to-end automation testing. Probably, most of you are probably coming from manual testing background. You heard of something called system testing and end-to-end testing. You know the definitions of it. But I'm not sure whether you have really done in your career. In this course, I'm going to show you end-to-end testing of APIs. So you are going to see the real definition and the real practical meaning of end-to-end testing, that too from automation testing perspective for the APIs. For the live project, I'm going to show it to you. And once I do it, you feel that, wow, this is so easy and very meaningful as well. Okay, let me take a pause here. Anyone has questions until this point? I see some questions on the chat. I'll try to answer them first before I move forward. Okay, Devaki says, what about recordings? So Devaki, the answer is every one of you will get recordings of each class. Every class is recorded and every person will receive the link of the recorded class. And it will be available lifetime. Akash says, how many days? 30 days course, Akash. I think almost 75% of the course is automation. 25% will be manual. And Devaki says, will you teach us hands-on project? The answer is yes, Devaki. Live projects I'm taking, and it is going to be practical training, no PowerPoints, no documents. Okay, it's practical training end-to-end. Okay, Jenny says, can you compare how much manual versus automation? I think I answered it. Manual 25%, automation 75%. Ashwarya says, what is the course fee? It's on the website, Ashwarya, or you can put a message on the WhatsApp group. My team will answer that question to you. Okay, now I can take some questions from anyone until this chapter 7. If you have any questions, you can ask me. If there are no questions, you can say no questions. So can someone say no questions or yes questions? Accordingly, I will move to the next topic. Okay, Jeannie says in the real world. Okay, thank you. So Jeannie, the answer is in the real world, when you're doing API testing, 90% it will be automation only. API testing is never manual. It is always automation. Yeah. Then we have chapter 8. So chapter 8 is going to be a real-time challenge that you are going to face in your projects and how to solve it. Why did I include chapter 8? Let me tell you honestly. I faced it in 5 different consulting engagements. So, in India, when I was traveling multiple locations to multiple clients, I faced multiple challenges. I found a way to solve it, and that helped the client and their testing team go forward with automation. So I put that challenges in chapter 8, and we are going to see if the API documentation is coming in XYZ format, how will you solve it? If the API documentation is coming in something new format which Kiran did not teach you, how will you solve it? So I'm going to make you interview ready or real project ready in chapter 8. Okay, that's going to be very useful to you guys, and you will love the Postman tool for helping you and me to that level of extent. Okay. Chapter 9 is also part of chapter 8, so that I'll skip it. Chapter 10 is talking about Postman variables. I'm sure you're all aware of the concept of variables, right? A variable is a container that holds the value of an object. Just like you have a wallet, and inside the wallet you have 100 rupee note or a $1 note, right? So your wallet is acting as a container, and the cache inside is acting as a value. So in any automation, in programming languages, we use variables, right? That's used for maintaining the secrecy of the values, or that is used for hiding the values, and that's a good practice. It is used for reusability. Postman tool also has the concept of variables. So in chapter 10, you will understand how do I create the variable? Why the hell do we have variables in the world, first of all? How do I create it manually, or how do I create it using JavaScript, meaning both manually and automation? Then I will tell you where are the areas you can create variables, ideally speaking, and how do you create a variable, how do you retrieve the value of the variable, how do you print the value of the variable, or how do you change the value of the variable dynamically, and how do you delete the variable. All these things in chapter 10 will be explained manually as well as automation wise. Chapter 10 is optional, but we will spend good time in chapter 10 also. Chapter 11 talks about the framework, additional framework which I am teaching, called as Newman tool. So Newman is another plugin from Postman community, which will help you to integrate Postman with CLI, meaning command line interface. So you can generate HTML test reports, which your customer can see, and they will love the beauty of those reports. Another advantage is you can generate an XML test report also, or a JSON test report, or you can print the report on the command prompt only. Last but not the least, you can also do functional testing using Newman. You can do performance testing using Newman. You can do data-driven automation testing using Newman. And in the future, if you want, you can integrate with CI/CD tools like Jenkins, Microsoft Azure, AWS, etc. So chapter 11 is talking about Newman tool setup and the commands you are going to learn. Chapter 12 is the debugging chapter and the troubleshooting chapter, like all the help that you need to have in your mind when you are using Postman. During the training, if you have a problem, I'm definitely there to help you. But in your project, I'm not there next to you. No one will be there next to you. You have to solve the problem that you faced it. So how can you solve the issues in your automation testing when you're using Postman tool? So chapter 12 is the answer. So chapter 12 will be like your artificial intelligence sitting next to you, helping you at least 30% to solve the problem. Okay. So chapter 12 is all about how do you troubleshoot the automation scripts that are failing, how do you debug them, what are the general settings that you have to do in the Postman tool. And with chapter 12, we are going to conclude the training program. Okay. And the case study is also there. We are going to have hands-on assignments on multiple points that we are going to discuss on everyday basis. And the prerequisite is, if you are coming from basic manual testing background, that's more than sufficient. Okay. And we are going to do the lab setup. You don't have to come prepared with the lab setup. I'll be helping you guys during the training, but this is a lab setup that we are going to have. Okay, so this is the overall table of content that I have prepared, and this continuously I will change it based on the requirements that people get. And I'm seeing few more questions on the chat. I'll pick them and answer. So Bika says, currently I'm working as UI automation engineer. Good. I have zero knowledge on API. That's okay. Shall I start with manual API till automation, or only automation? So because do not worry, in the course we are starting with manual testing of APIs, and then slowly we'll learn automation. 25 to 75% is the ratio of manual to automation. Satyakrishna says Postman tool will be provided to us practice. Is it a free tool or paid tool? So Satyakrishna, it's a free tool, and I will help you with the tool also. How do you download it? How do you install it? How do you create an account? I am there in the training to help you with all these things. Okay. And by the way, every one of you is going to get this folder. So in fact, I'll show you the share. So this is the folder I have created, API testing. So these are the other trainings that I keep doing, and the notes will be made here. So this is the notes that all of you will receive, which has the entire training related material for you. And this is going to be uh, definitely worth reading it. It is not a regular PowerPoint that you get it on google.com. None of these things you will find in google.com. And my material is not boring. It is the way I'm speaking, you will see the same content inside my training material also. So I'm going to share this Google Drive with all the participants, and we are going to share the recorded classes also to all the participants. Every day you will get the notes, every day you will get the recordings. Okay. So any questions from anyone? So that's all I have in today's small demonstration class. The idea of this demo is to introduce myself and help you guys understand what we teach at Isha Training Solutions. If you have any questions, guys, please let me know. You can unmute and let me know your questions or put it on the chat. And I also request you guys to put your email addresses on the WhatsApp group. Please, we will send you some material in the form of table of content and what is that you are going to receive from us. Okay. And the batch timings will be 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. and the training will start from Friday. Okay. Tomorrow we do not have training. Today is a demo class. Today and tomorrow we'll wait for all the enrollments to be completed, and from Friday onwards the batch will start and it will continue uninterruptedly. The link will change on Friday. Okay, the link may not be the same. For people who have enrolled, the link will change. Afro says, are you doing any Selenium trainings too? The answer is yes, Afros. Me and my team are doing it. Right now we have another trainer who is doing Selenium training. You can put forward a message in the group. I will tag you with the Selenium trainer who just started the batch. And I request again everyone, please put your WhatsApp numbers or email addresses on the WhatsApp group so that my team can contact you, and also will send you the TOC for your reference material. And you can ask multiple questions in the WhatsApp group also before you, if you're still having any dilemmas like should I enroll, or you'll take some more time to enroll, or you're ready to enroll, any questions, be it, let's be open and you can directly put it on the chat group, guys. I repeat, the batch will start from day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we don't have the class. I repeat, we are leaving one day for the enrollments to be completed. Abhishek, the fee, I think it's on the chat also, 6,900 Indian rupees.
Okay, and Kiran, what will be the duration? It will be 1 month, entire course.
Yes, 30 days I will say, which is like 30 hours.
Okay.
Kiran, so my doubt is something like, so after going through your these sessions, can you let us know how many got replaced in and which companies?
Yes, definitely. The Isha team will be helping you with that information.
Hi Kiran, this is Vijay Wilfred.
Yes.
Actually, I have a doubt. I have tried one simple program, okay, with Hibernate and this one without using Spring Framework, just like model view controller with Jersey library and tested using Postman API too. So I tried with post that the post method is working good, but while doing the get method, I'm not sure how the format is not coming in proper JSON. So this is a doubt I have. Can you please explain that?
See, whatever API you have executed,
Okay.
check whether the server is giving you a HTML response or a JSON response. Because if the server has been designed to give you HTML, you won't get a JSON.
No.
So there are certain
Uh,
APIs which are.
okay, go
Yeah,
on.
go
Sorry
ahead.
to interrupt. No. Actually, what I done is like done using with Oracle database. Okay, with
Mhm.
automatically using annotation for incrementing that using sequence. So what has happened is like
Mhm.
I have done with Tomcat server, everything going good, but while using in Postman API,
Mhm.
post method is working good. So what and all values it is in JSON format and also got the 200 success. That okay. But while I'm doing the get method, what is happening there? I put everything like that application JSON and this one, that media type, everything I had given correctly only. But in spite of that,
Hmm.
it is not coming in. It is coming like square brackets, not in curly braces.
No, probably you have an array of see, JSON can also be in the form of an array, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
So maybe it's a nested JSON array. So unless I see it, right, I mean, probably, maybe in the next class, if you share your screen, maybe if I
Okay.
see it, I can probably throw more light on it. But from what I understand, it could be a JSON array response.
Yeah, can you please share your email ID, WhatsApp group, so I can send that program to you and you can have a look. So what error are done?
Yeah, yeah. I'm putting it on the chat.
Okay, okay, sure, sure. Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So another question I see, what are the other courses? Okay, so the other courses I teach will be performance testing, security testing, uh, Catalan Studio automation testing, EAP automation testing, Git, GitHub, GitLab, Jenkins, Bitbucket, accessibility testing. Yeah, these are few of the courses SN that I teach. Cypress automation also we are doing Shanmugan, but I am not the trainer. We have another one who is doing it. Any other questions, guys? I know it's a little late for most of you. It's almost 10 minutes to 10. Security testing, does it help Crest certified? The answer is to some extent. Devakasi is mobile automation using Appium. The answer is yes. Isha team does this training. Any other questions, team? If there are no questions, we are good to sign off for today. I thank you everyone for joining today's quick demonstration class. Feel free to put forward your questions on the WhatsApp groups. I will check the WhatsApp messages for the next 1 hour and we'll be able to answer your questions. Okay. If you are happy with the course curriculum, if you're happy with what I have explained you can feel free to contact Isha team and proceed with your enrollments. Friday onwards, the batch will start. Same timings. The link might change.
Kiran,
Fine.
if the session happens today, so when can we expect the recording of the today's session?
Tomorrow, the next day, you will get it because we are doing in the evenings, right? 9 p.m. to 10
Yes.
p.m. So next day morning, you will get it. Probably by 10 o'clock in the morning, you should be having it.
Okay. So you'll be providing today's recording also, so for reference purpose.
Yes, yes. We'll put it on the WhatsApp group directly.
Okay. Thank you, Kiran.
Yeah. So, Harsha, we will share the TOC. And in fact, that was the reason why I asked everyone, put forward your WhatsApp numbers or your email address, whatever you have on the chat, so that, the team behind me will take care of sending the required material. Okay. Looks like no more questions. So can I assume we are done for the day? Okay. Thank you, everyone, then. See you guys again. Bye-bye.